Welcome to Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. This is a show we look at strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of Heroclix. Uh, so, today I've been gluing, super gluing broken pieces back together, hoping that they will stay, and look something close to their former selves. One of my more difficult projects is the Goblin Glider. Like WizKids, never do this again. Where this is like two pieces. This should have. I know it's dynamic, but you need a cradle piece of plastic or something to keep the Goblin Glider attached decently, because it's crap. I also need to fix my Jessica Cruz arm. I bought off of eBay and the arm came snapped off. So yeah, that I gotta fix that too. So I might end up doing that after the show. If it's just too hard, I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. There's a point when you get into these projects where you have to decide: do I finish this, or do I just let it go and just realize that this figure is functionally, disabled from this point forward, visually. So, yeah, going into Origins, not feeling too hot. I've been playing my team, and I've been getting my butt whooped really bad by my teammates. So it may just be a testament of how much greater my teammates' skill is greater than mine, or my Roll20 luck. That too. But it could be a bit of both. Funny thing is, when I'm doing like the training, I'm like on fire, which is sort of hilarious. I still lose, but I have some straight up on fire moments, which is pretty cool. All right. Since this got brought up to me on YouTube, I'm not on YouTube, on Facebook, indirectly. I'm gonna talk about podcasting, commentating, the state of Heroclix, podcasting and commentating. And then if there's time left, I'll talk about some more tactic stuff. So, all right. So here's what it is. The guy was like, "Yo, man, who's making money out there in these streets doing HeroClix podcasting?" And I just blatantly said, like, "Look, it is hard to make money doing this, and depending on your level of YouTube political involvement and social involvement and which channels you listen to on YouTube, or if you're just the guy that's there to check out the latest, funny video. The atmospheres of YouTube are vastly different. So I usually try to follow people that are up and about on the commentator space. I usually get most of my news from YouTube, and commentary and stuff like that. And the main reason, just functionally, from my logical perspective, I don't trust most of the mainstream media. Not just because I'm a conservative, as that thing may be said, but intellectually, for a majority of the topics that are presented, whether you like or dislike Trump, whether you're concerned about global warming, gay rights, whatever, short form conversations about massive issues is an intellectual injustice to everyone to think that in 2 minutes you could adequately cover both sides of a subject and do it to a degree which a person can make a sound decision towards one way or the other. It's just not possible. And the whole concept of 24-hour news had the great opportunity to go long form, but never decided to, and instead decided to just keep recycling the same stuff over and over again. And the human brain, information wise, leans towards the negative, always towards the negative. So I listen to, my liberal YouTubers, I listen to my moderate YouTubers, and I listen to my conservative YouTubers. Mainly because I have like a various different perspectives that I like to get in. Because again, you can't just listen to one side and get everything. If I'm concerned about a viewpoint, I'll go out there and try to see like what does this side actually say, instead of putting arguments in their mouth and saying that they actually believe this when they don't believe that. Anyway, so when you look at what's going on, and this, I'm wrapping it back in. When you look at what's going on with YouTube and the adpocalypses and the legitimate warfare going on by print media and, I would say, older tech media against YouTube, it's insane. It's insane. Okay? And if you're thinking that you're going to go out there and start a channel and get a million views and people are going to love you doing Heroclix, you're high. You're so high right now that you need to go into rehab. Okay? And I'll say it like this. When I started on YouTube, it's like 2011 or 12, somewhere around there. Whenever freaking Century and Void came out that year, because I migrated all of my stuff from Blip. The main reason that when I looked at YouTube at the time, YouTube was actually like the worst paying company for creators. It was worse. I could make off of 4 shows $30 on Blip, and also have my stuff uploaded to iTunes, and also have my stuff uploaded to YouTube if I chose. But when I got kicked off of Blip, they took away my migration ability, which was freaking dumb. So Blip paid me out like good, like really good, for being a micro creator. And if I hustled Realms more, if there was, Realms back then, and I had, a video camera, and I was a little bit more together with my production values, I could have probably still been on Blip until they collapsed or whatever, and then I would have inevitably been on YouTube. But YouTube was not always the best paying platform. It was the best paying platform in the big, well-known groups of platforms at the time. Okay, and even when I navigated over to YouTube, I've only been paid out by YouTube twice. Okay, so what that means is between me linking my blog, which I'll break that down. When I really was active on the blog, plus my views at the time, it would take me about 13 months to get $100. So anybody that's like, oh, wow, 13 months to make $100, and this is before the adpocalypses, this is before the rate changes. This is way back when YouTube was quote unquote good. Okay. I know Glass Cabinet was killing it and definitely just doing way better than I was, but I had pretty decent views, but I was also like literally migrating my channel, and I lost over 2/3 of my viewership. They never just came over to YouTube. So there is that. Anyway, Sort of going back, when YouTube had the ad cuts before the apocalypse, then you had PewDiePie Apocalypse 1. That cut things down because I still was running ads. So it went from me maybe getting paid out like $100 in 13 months to me being paid $100 in about 2.5 years. Okay. I got, eventually, like I said, I got paid out a second time. I think that was right after like Apocalypse 1. So after Apocalypse 1, everybody was freaking crapping a brick and afraid and all this other stuff. But because I still may have had the blog going, plus putting out videos just about almost every week, it made it so that there was a little bit of change. Okay. And because I had that little bit of change, I was able to do other things, and I was able to get sponsors and run contests and do different stuff. But that was on my own. The sponsors came to me, talked to me, and said, "Look, I want to do this, 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 and this," and I was like, "Cool." And so most of, really all of what I got from sponsors just went back into the channel and giving it to viewers. So when you look at that reality, that, for almost like a 4-year period, I made $200 off of YouTube directly. You might would have said, like, Edward, why did you keep going doing this? Well, one, there are a small amount of competitive commentators. Two, I like talking, and according to some, I like hearing myself talk. And three, I think that really, when it comes down to it, folks talk about why does there my representation, but won't do crap about it. Okay, they want to be entertained but not do the entertaining, and so I'm like, well, shoot, where are all the black people at? Okay, maybe I'll be the the one black guy doing commentating, because currently I think I am. I think I'm the only black commentator. I'm not the only ethnic minority, but I definitely am only the black one, I think. If someone can, shout out the other black commentator, let me know. I'll try to have them on my show, or vice versa. But, all kidding aside, if you want certain voices out there, eventually you have to make a decision that you're going to be that voice. And if the market loves you, the market loves you. If the market doesn't love you, then the market doesn't love you. That's fine. Okay. But you need to be on a schedule that you like, and do content you like, instead of beating around the bush and trying to do 10 things that are super popular. I know I've had a lot of people over time tell me that I need to do this with a channel and that with a channel. Some of them are legitimate. Some of them I'm just like, that's not me. All right, so going back to making money, AdSense on a blog is okay. And like I said, back before the apocalypses, it used to be rather decent. So to put it in perspective, before all the apocalypse and the rate shift, on a blog, you could make, like on average, I got like 50 to 60 views per article that I put up. That would net me about 50 cents to about $1, usually depending on the types of ads. Then you could get into embedded ads that are still your standard Google ads, but you could sort of be like, I want like 3 shoe ads on my page or whatever, instead of the default like one banner at the top or whatever. Okay, so you can do that. And if you what AdSense will do is it'll sort of recognize the type of people that, or the type of content your blog is about, And then they'll say that's our generic shoe ad. That is 1 cent per 10 views. Okay, that's your rate. That's not what, Google is getting. That's what you're getting. And so you, of course, you want to have that link there. And if someone clicks it, you get 1 cent. Okay, like the temptation so much just to get on some generic computer somewhere and just constantly click ads on my own website was ridiculous. Like I won't lie, I wanted to do that so bad, just to inflate my view count and inflate my AdSense count. So once you have your apocalypse and your changes to AdSense and Google not being profitable and all these other things, pulling in your blog money plus your YouTube money, it's just horrible. Like if you look, when I was looking at my Google metrics from years ago, my AdSense from years ago, what I noticed was I had a view, which functionally was the trailer for my show. It would run an ad, it would run a pre-roll, it would run a mid-roll, and would run a post-roll. That's how I had it, because functionally you would only be advertised 3 times. So during a span of literally an hour, you saw 3 ads. That's not bad. I thought it wasn't egregious. Okay. You know, I can understand, a lot of other people would say otherwise. But I definitely was not as aggressive as most of the channels of my length at the time. Because at the time, for about an hour show, you could put in an ad break every 8 minutes, which is on par with sitcoms. And then that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Like, shows used to have a 15-minute ad break, and then at the 25-minute mark wrap up and then have another ad break. And then they shifted, because ads weren't being popular, they shifted how shows worked into this like three 8-minute segment type things. And then you pop your first break, boom, watch a little bit more show, pop your second break, show wraps up, pop your transitional break before your next show. That's how networks did it. And once they did it, it was very aggressive, and even still it didn't matter that much in terms of advertising. But that's what YouTube was doing, was popping ad breaks every 8 to 9 minutes is like your minimum. And so you could watch, like I remember watching tons of commentaries and debates, and every 8 minutes freaking there was an ad that you would just have to sit through and just like, ah. And I was glad for the skip ad, the skip button, because that was a godsend, because some of the ads were like 2 to 3 minutes. So when you look at how much work that I could have put in and just said like ad, I probably could have made an extra $50. So then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to piss off your community because of ads and your viewership? Just so that you literally can make $50? And the answer many times is no. So fast forward, we got Adpocalypse, 1. We have Adpocalypse 2, PewDiePie Adpocalypse 2. Then you go into Logan Paul Adpocalypse. Okay. Actually, just Adpocalypse 2. So Adpocalypse 2, I started to notice something with running ads on YouTube. And it went like this. I would run an ad. The ad was supposed to set for a pre-roll, mid-roll, and then post-roll. YouTube completely took over where the ads were. Okay, because I just defaulted, because you could set up in your YouTube channel once you hit the point of monetization, you could set up where your ads were. And so what I noticed was that instead of pre-roll, mid-roll, and post-roll, I was getting broken up into those 8-minute blocks with ads. Okay, now mind you, my ad rate has gone through the tank. It sucks like a Hoover vacuum. Okay, if I got 500 views on a video, which is high for me, that's high. You're talking about 15 cents, where in the past that would have at least been $1. Okay, so the frustrating part during this period of time is I'm starting to get complaints by viewers. And viewers are like, yo, man, you're overdoing it on the ads. You're overdoing it on the ads. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm overdoing it on the ads. What do you mean? I've done the same thing that I thought I was doing. And when I checked, boom, there you go. I got ads every 8 minutes. So I went to my dad's house and watched one of my shows on his computer because he's not logged in as me. There's no cookies on that as me, all that goodness. So I watched like a whole episode, and I looked at that little timer bar, and you see those little yellow lines, and I just see ad after ad after ad after ad. And I mean, you're talking about set reviews. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is horrible. Like, how the ads are handled make the content almost unwatchable. Because like midpoint, I'm like saying something and ad pops in. It's like, do you want to go and drive a new Mitsubishi, car? Come on. Do you want to try the new sip of cool drink? Like that's what was popping up. And since I'm a gaming channel and we didn't have the freaking 1984 level censorship and observations going on that we have now, there's a lot of things that I can see like, okay, well, I was able to keep monetization because YouTube is not scanning my words yet. So once I saw how many ads I was getting and how it was affecting viewership, I just went to straight demonetization. I just said, all right, I'm not monetizing any of my stuff. Now, for some people, they are going to say, that's a bold move, Dark Logos. And I'm like, nah, because YouTube pays out at $100 minimum. They won't pay you out at the end of the month like, yo, man, here's your change. Thank you for helping us this month. No. That's how their hustle is. And they get to delay your pay because I think I have like $25 in like AdSense. That's just sitting that I'll never get because I don't have any monetization on. And they could just say terms and conditions, you're not owed that money. You didn't hit our benchmark. We can hold this in escrow until whenever. Like, we get to make money off of what you've earned, and we don't get to pay you. We don't have to pay you because you agreed not to be paid. And it's like, well, look, there's no other freaking option on your own platform. Anyway. So I turned off ads before the Logan Paul apocalypse, so it didn't affect me. And so the current stuff that's going on with the Carlos Maza stuff and the CNET and the New York Times and all these other things, they're going down because YouTube is eating their lunch. I like, and this is, politically how you like them or not. I like Tim Pool. I like Philip DeFranco. I don't agree with Tim Pool or Philip DeFranco from a political standpoint. But I like listening to them because they have valid points and they break into the news and then they'll go and they'll give their opinion. Like, I understand when it's news and I understand when it's punditry. And the problem I have Most folks don't get the difference between the two, and most news sites do not have a distinction between the two when they're writing news. Anyway, so with seeing these hit piece stuff going on, seeing people that are critical of major companies sort of getting black holed into content land, getting demonetized for all sorts of little silliness that was tolerable in the past, that's not tolerable now, and getting retro retro slapped in the face. It's a bit much. So if someone's going to be like, okay, I want to become a Heroclix, podcaster, and I want to make money, I would be like, yo, homie, don't do it on YouTube. Don't do it on YouTube if unless you're just an unboxing channel. Because let's just say you're mildly conservative and you let some things out and you land on the wrong side of the PC debate at that time, you're gone. Your channel is struck, or they're going to just bury you. And you're going to go, and if you're depending on this to supplement your livelihood, or hell, supplement your clicks, no, you're going to have a problem. Okay, YouTube primarily punches right more than they punch left. They will pull off some extreme left stuff, but they haven't really been against Antifa. And if you don't know what Antifa is, don't worry. And there's a couple other groups. When you start having literally it's called a TERF, TERF. I'm not going to even go into it. When you start having those videos being removed, that lets you know that it's stupid. Anyway, if you are just unboxing and that's all you're doing, you will make a crap ton of you will get a crap ton of attention on YouTube. Okay. Because unboxings in Heroclix and in like 90% of the other stuff is great. If you're like, oh, I'm unboxing my newest set of Black Panther and the Illuminati. No shade to anybody that's doing that. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm unboxing my new Black Panther and the Illuminati. Let's go look at the figures. So I got an ebony, ma. All right, look at that detail. Like if you're doing that, you'll get views, okay? But I'll give a clear example of this. You take Married with Clicks, okay? Take Married with Clicks, and Jason is my boy, all right? Look at his MetaLab views and Into the Madness views versus his unboxing views. Just take those three types of videos within a reasonable period of time, and you will see that in an unboxing video, he is going to have 2 times, maybe even 3 times the amount of views as the other 2 series. Okay? Why is that? Because more of the Heroclix community is going to be around unboxing. So if you're about unboxing, you're about that life, go put your stuff on YouTube. If you're like, hey man, I'm going to, have a show sort of like 2 clicks for KO, from KO. That is fine. I would not put that on YouTube. I would argue with the current climate, hell, I don't think Majestics will get shot down on YouTube, but I wouldn't be surprised after a while, like we're going to see no swearing for the little guy, but swearing for Jimmy Kimmel is okay. And all the major news and network people, they'll be able to swear, cover all the things that YouTube tells us that we can't cover, or else we're demonetized or copyright struck or whatever else. That's fine if the companies do it, but if the individuals do it, Oh, no, no, we can't do that. How dare you, little plebeian, think that you can have rights or that there's such thing as fairness, even though we're a company that thrives and promotes ourselves as a leftist egalitarian company. So, yeah. Anyway, so if you want to do something like that's just purely tactical and you want to be profitable, I would keep it clean, start on YouTube, open a Patreon, tell everybody, look, we want to have a rowdy show. We can't do it on YouTube. We're moving to Patreon. We're going to move all our audio files. Like, again, like you're probably doing this around episode 25. So you need to have this planned. We're moving all our audio files of all our past shows to Podbean. We're going to put all our past video shows and future video shows on Minds.com. Also, fair point, Minds.com can get you flagged on YouTube. On Facebook, if you try to bring up Minds.com, which is pretty much a more open free speech platform than YouTube. It's off reservation and they don't want you there. Anyway, so you're going to put up all your videos on Minds because then you don't have to worry about any future, because there's no monetization on Minds. You don't have to worry about any future censorship because anything that you put on Minds won't get censored unless the community's like, yeah, you're saying Zig Heil and you're serious about it. You're gone. You're talking about beating up folks because of what they believe. You're gone. Okay? That's what Minds does. At least you have a community vote and overview versus the Mr. iRobot here flagging you for using words. Hell, I mean, like even Twitch with the Naga situation. So you put yourself on Podbean. Now, once you're on Podbean, you're going to have to pay for unlimited. Okay, you can't. Don't think you're going to skate by if you've been doing 25-minute shows. You're not even doing stuff as long as I'm doing. If you want to do 25-minute shows, and just be like, here's the week in Heroclix. All right, let's talk about this. How was that? Blah, 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 blah. Let's go. Bob, today's, show was sponsored by Lucky Dice Cafe in Huntsville, Alabama. Lucky Dice Cafe, blah, blah, blah. All that jazz. Okay? If you're going to be a quick get on with the show, like your data that Podbean lets you have for free is at most going to cover you 6 shows. And that's if you're not super high quality audio. Like if you upload an unfiltered wave, oh yeah, you're screwed. You're screwed. You're just going to eat up too much data too fast. And if you compress too much, your voice doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound robust. Doesn't sound human. It sounds like you're talking through, a 1975 speaker. Okay, so you're going to be paying for Podbean. Now, once you realize that you're paying for Podbean, then this stuff gets real. Now, I know some people like SoundCloud because SoundCloud is functionally the free version of Podbean. But there's a couple of problems that come with SoundCloud, and I'll get to that in a second. But you go on to Podbean, and the main reason that you want to be on Podbean is that if you try to get side advertisers, you're able to more accurately describe your analytics about how many views you listen to, how many downloads you get, how many views you get, how many, streams you get. And it's all there in a lot more detail, like how long do people watch your show. Okay. Then, on top of everything else, if you go over to SoundCloud, to my knowledge, SoundCloud is relatively free. It's been a while since I've messed with SoundCloud. But the last time I dealt with SoundCloud, they too had limits on what you could and could not do. And if you start trying to sell, sell tracks or anything like that, Of course, no, like SoundCloud is going to get a cut. So let's just say if you're interested in doing like a radio production live from Origins or from Worlds, and you want to charge for the uncut version of that content, you could do it on SoundCloud. But there's a problem. SoundCloud just lets you listen to anything anyway, and so it's up to like your viewers to functionally just decide to pay for it if they wanted to. I like some synthwave music and retrowave, and there's albums that I could just sit there on SoundCloud that I could be paying $5 for that I just hit play, and I don't have to pay for it. So there's problems. Like I said, if you're looking at the money side, you're paying to play, and if SoundCloud is saying, look, man, you're going to have to pay for your hosting, it gets real. But I doubt that you really are, because I don't think Shots Fired and Clicked Off would be on, or even Majestics would be on SoundCloud if the cost was super high. Now, here's another downside of SoundCloud. People will beg you constantly, why isn't this show on iTunes? Why isn't this show on Podbean? Because those are just the default apps that everyone uses. Everyone wants to stay on one platform. Most people don't want to bounce between multiple platforms to get the content they want. It's one of the reasons why, like 4 years ago, Netflix was killing it, because everything was on one platform. I heard a guy was talking about there's an increase in use of BitTorrents and a downward decrease in the use of streaming apps. That's mainly because all the streaming apps just completely just said, this is my ball and now I'm going home and I'm taking my ball with me. And you're breaking up. You had one place that had like 90% of everything, and now everybody else is everybody was looking at that 90%, and they were like, oh, well, cool, we're going to go here. And then all these other people were saying, it's not fair that he has 90%. We want some of that too. And then now the big place has 75%, and folks are like, you know what? I like your 75%, but the other 25% that's everywhere else, I think I'm just going to pirate it. And that's what's going on. But yeah, anyway, so going back, when you start talking about your digital distribution, you're going to have fans just be annoying, and new fans not knowing that they're being annoying, asking you, why aren't you on Podbean? Why aren't you on iTunes? Why aren't you on this, that, or the other? And you just have to tell them, like, look, man, I pay this much in every month and I make this much out. I'm not going broke, or I'm not going to pay to play. Because you haven't even got to the point where people just are toxic to you for no reason, because that gets old quick as well. So, unfortunately, I'll say this about the Heroclix community. I never got made fun of being black. I've been made fun of being a crappy player, or being told I was a crappy player. Never been made fun for being black. Better than when I was like super serious about League of Legends. So, there you go. Yeah. So let's just say some future magical platform appears in the future, and it's like, look, man, you can host unlimited data for free, and but your files can't be more than this amount. Let's just say 500 megs. You can't do video. You have to do audio, because if you start doing video with current compression, your file size is like 1 gig. For those short videos that I do, like when I'm out and about taking videos with like, oh, I'm at this tournament, yeah, those files, when compressed into like from my camcorder into I'm using Hit Film Express. Once I get all those little clips pushed together, it's about 1 gig. And those videos really aren't that long. So you're stuck in audio format if you're going to do anything. But anyway, so let's talk about the donation problem. Okay, so there's the donation problem. I like just having PayPal. If someone wants to buy my affection for a show or two, they can. They can say, like, yo, I got a donation for you. Please talk about this. Boom, you got a show. Okay, so you could just say, Edward, here's $5. Talk about this. Bam, that's it. If someone's like, Edward, I want these services from you, coaching services. Boom, I can get my money. Okay, your friends and family get to me. Boom, there you go. Okay, so what does that do? I get my money, relatively unfeathered, or sorry, not unfettered. There's nobody that's like looking over my shoulder about the transfer of bucks towards me. I do count it all on my taxes, and that is a pro and a con of. It's a pro and a con. I'll break that down a bit. So I'm doing my business transactions, and I'm able to keep the money that way. You have Patreon. I understand why people are on Patreon, because it was the only competition, at the time. It was the only one in the house other than PayPal. And Patreon is not bad because you can set up little goodies and incite people to give you more, and based off of your tiers, and you can offer 50 different things, that you want. Okay. If you're a Twitch girl, Patreon is really good for you. Those Instagram pics, those private Instagram pics. Anyway, the problem with Patreon is, again, you can lose all your money if you do something that catches Patreon's attention. Now, again, you're a little YouTuber guy, little podcaster guy. I'm betting 99.9% you're not going to catch the ire of Patreon. But if something stupid in life happens around you that does not align up with the political beliefs of Patreon, and they dox you, or somebody doxes you, not Patreon's not dox you, someone doxes you, and say, oh, look, there's Billy Joe Bob. He was there at the super, Klan rally to oppress America. And then you were just getting a donut or something, and you got caught in the picture, or you were buying an event or something. I mean, like, screw context. This is 2019. We think with our feelings now. Patreon can be like, we don't support the neo-Nazi Klan people. You don't get your money. Okay, so that's real. That is legit real. If you want to say, like, hey, I'm going to go Subscribestar, great. You can do that until Subscribestar decides to be a dink. But more than likely, they're operating on being the anti-dink. Okay? Now, if you want to live stream, PewDiePie put into the D-Live pot. Okay, so if you want to start the new frontier toward D-Live, go there. Because I'm going to tell you this. Twitch sucks. Twitch sucks. So let's look at the average view of a competitive Heroclix video. Let's look at and so the average view of a competitive Heroclix video, God forbid it's not mine. Anyway, God forbid we look at mine, but let's look at somebody cool. Let's look at like Married with Clicks. Okay, so they get around like 200 views. Great, you have that 200 views. Bam. Now, if I look at that view and he got 200 views, they got 200 views in like 2 days. So that lets me know you have variable viewing times and you're averaging about 100 views per day. Okay. Now, if you create an event Now you start looking at their live streams. And if their live streams on YouTube are getting about 50 people, cut that in half, and that's about what you're going to get on Twitch. You're going to need a lot more followers to become a partner on Twitch. Unless you're going to do that IRL section. And again, at that stage, if you're in the IRL section, then yeah, you could have just been in the IRL section and made money. You didn't need to play Heroclix in the IRL section, all right? So, and I know some people are going to be like, how do you know all this, Edward? And I'm like, I stay up on this stuff, and if you could subscribe to one of my favorite guys, again, viewpoints all over the place, it's a Gundam. It's a Gundam. I'm not getting paid to shout out any of these people, but yeah, it's a Gundam. The dude is fire. I love him. Anyway, so you're going to go to Twitch, you're not getting numbers. So even if you look at the World Championship, when those were streamed, 25 viewers, Rock Championship, 30 viewers. Those are our big events. And we pull in sub 100 numbers. They're not going to partner you. This isn't the days of, hey, I'm on here, I'm doing some work. Oh, you're going to give me change just because I'm on here and I got some views? Thanks, YouTube. Those days or thanks, big Western global capitalist media, tech firm. Those are gone. Those days are gone. We are in the, oh my gosh, the people we don't like made money, and so we must stop everybody from making money, instead of just telling these companies, you need to be monitoring what the hell's on your platform. And if you're going to be a platform, but if you're going to be a publisher, then you need to be responsible for all this crap that's going down. I'm just saying. So anyway, so you're going to streaming. If you want to do Twitch, you can. I would advise, if you're doing Twitch, you need to be on at least 2 other platforms. At least 2 other platforms, so that, number one, once you go live, people on those other platforms have an incentive to talk to you live. I'll admit, like, I've live streamed playing during the middle of the day, on a Saturday, playing Injustice. I get 2 to 3 people pop in on the PlayStation saying, yo, what's up? Ask me some Heroclix questions. I was playing some Fallout, playing Injustice. I got some good feedback from that. But again, that's me being random. When I went and I said, look, I'm streaming every other Wednesday, and this time, I got like 1 person. And I got that 1 person because I work with them. Okay, so I was going over maps, like, yo, this is good, this is why it's good, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Nobody. All right. Now you can argue, Edward, nobody watches your show. That's why you didn't get anybody. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, you need to have it set up where it's like, look, I'm live streaming, ask me questions. Let's talk about really what's going on. And that works. So there is some fatigue that does happen because you have Heroclix doing it. You have Snaggles Gaming doing it. And you have a few others that are like trying to get into that live stream and talk about Heroclix games. So if you're trying to get into that, like, good luck. Because again, we're recycling the same people. So the person that is listening to me is more than likely listening to Heroclix, Dial H, 2 Clicks from KO, Clickstoff, Critical Clicks, and probably like 2 to 3 other shows that I'm not even aware of. Pacific Northwest guys, even them. I see you. Took my shots like a pro. Still here. All right. Anyway. So, going on, when we're recycling these same groups of people, that means that the actual listener base for Heroclix, competitive or casual, it's going to cap out around 600. That's global. Okay? You can't build any sort of empire off of that. And the only way that it's going to change realistically is a media blitz by WizKids to do a couple of things that we probably don't want them to do, even though we want them to do for a per. Okay, let me just be honest about it. WizKids needs to offer money, and they need to go on an advertising blitz and have a bunch of big tournaments at a bunch of big cons, which, in all honesty, would grab them a lot of attention and get people to play. It would move product. We don't really want that. As much as we say we want that, we really don't want that. Because you're going to get the losers from most of the other games coming into Heroclix, thinking that all they need to do is get combos and write figures and stuff, and then they're going to be good. And then we have pretty much the butt hats from all the other games coming in, thinking it's easy money to be made. That's how every other competitive game does it. When they want to challenge Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon, they'll come on the scene, they'll offer a big chunk of money, and be like, yo, check us out. The games that didn't do that were middle tier games, like Universal Fighting System. They really didn't offer you money when I played that. They offered you a chance to be on a card and build a card. That would have been... Yeah. Anyway. So, as you can see, from a business standpoint, there's a lot of problems. A whole lot of problems. If you're trying to get into YouTube and or to be a media person. And like the best thing that you have is that if you set yourself up as a small business, you're able to write some of your hobby off. That's it. And you need to have an accountant. Like, I have an accountant for that. I travel. I give proof that I travel. I make income by selling services of coaching services and practice games. I sell extra clicks on eBay. You know, I do most of the transactions for my team. You know, so because of that, I'm functionally running a very mediocre business. And I'm not self-employed, so I don't... Well, I'm self-employed, but it's sort of weird. Like, I work for another job, and then I have this income. So, again, you need an accountant to help you out. If you're competitive and you're buying and selling figures, then you want to make sure like stuff is a depreciating asset. Log in how much that you pay for it. Then see if there's any depreciation, and then, you know, like, oh, I paid approximately this market value for this figure. Okay, great. It's worth this much at launch. You know, a year from, you know, the next year you look at the depreciation. You're like, oh, my Chase Thanos went from being $400 down to being $150. That's a lot of depreciation. So there's that reality as well. So there's things that you can do and hustle and make money, and or at least try to supplement. You know, I respect the Pog guys. I respect the, you know, replacement card guys. Those little things are always great if you want to, you know, make those little fancy holding trays, or if you have a new gadget or something and you want to use your show to sort of talk about, you know, your new gadget for Heroclix or storage or anything like that. It's going to be a short-lived show, but I mean, you can do that. But yeah, I mean, that's like getting set up. And then the biggest thing I would tell anybody that was starting is network, 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 network. There are people that have approached me well in the past and wanted to be on the show or wanted me to be on their show, and there's been people that have approached me horribly. Okay? I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. The worst thing that you can do as a creator, a new creator, talking to an established creator, is come in and be entitled to favors. Like, I don't know you, homie, and you want me to donate my time to go promote your show, and you're not promoting me, and the people that watch you already know who I am, so I'm not getting much out of this. So, and you're not paying me. I'm like, this isn't going to work out. I've had some folks just straight up just demand my time for things. So I would say don't do that. Talk to people. 99% of the commentators out there are cool, minus Scott Crampton. Not a cool guy. Just kidding. Scott's cool. But 99% of the commentators are out there you could talk to. And if your show is definitely past like episode 6 and you have somebody listening, or you have sent some samples to other people to listen to, then great. Like, now whoever's going to help you hopefully becomes a fan too. And if they become a fan, then you can start working together. Understand how you're going to provide long-term value to that bigger channel. Okay? Because a lot of people just want to leech. They want to leech. And that becomes a problem. So decide, if you're a new creator, who you're going to try to be friends with, why, what type of shows you're going to try to get on, why, what type of guests you're going to have on, because every guest that you have on ends up sort of promoting on their own show, so it gets you some crossover for a little bit. Some people keep that crossover, some people don't. The best person that I would say I've dealt with is Devin from Happy Little Heroclix, mainly because he's a guy that's provided me a crap ton of value for this show. You look at the banner, that was Devin. I think he also did the graphic. Great guy. And so every time I get a chance to be like, yo, Happy Little Heroclix, it's great. We meet up at cons, and we meet up, at local tournaments in Omaha, and we hang out and we have fun. So, like, I would tell people, like, socializing, networking is really big. If you cannot make it out to Origins, Worlds, or Rock Cup, you're going to have a tough time unless you're in an international market. If you are not in America, you have the ability to monopolize a lot of foreign information for your local country, and there's no competition. I mean, if you're from the EU and you got outside of the YouTube bubble due to your VPN, Article 13 sucks. I'm sorry for you. Welcome to Brave New World. But we welcome the intellectual resistance. Yeah, so the if there's a person over there in the EU and they're like, look, I like what Starting Over Podcast is saying, I like what Majestic is saying, I'm going to present something like that over here, I would, you'd be like, hey, Edward, come on my show. Like, yeah, dude, you're going to have to catch me on a weekend, and so that that time dilation doesn't wreck my life. But yeah, we can do this. I'll come on your show. Definitely, if you're bilingual and you're able to understand English and some other language, and you want to advertise to primarily that language speaking group, do it. because there's just tons of content that you can, I don't want to say rip off, but there's tons of content that you can make and also reference that those other groups more than likely can't if they're monolingual. So, yep. So I guess I didn't get to talk about any Heroclix stuff today. Just ended up talking about like the business stuff. Just summarize it up. YouTube sucks as a business. It just does. Podbean sucks as a bit, from a business perspective. Patreon can sort of suck. Subscribe may suck. Don't know. Twitch sucks. And what else? DLive may suck in the future, but right now you might have a chance. So, yeah. Also, blogging sucks. And I still will vouch for PayPal, friends and family. I mean, you get 100% of your money. And you don't have to jump through hoops. So, yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. You can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me that the Intergalactic Federation of Sentient Beings has been looking at planet 5329 Beta Zark. And on that planet, it's a group of like wood creatures that shave off their bark and like make little figurines and do mock battles with it. And that's how they decide pollination rights. Yeah. The group people aren't that interesting. They are not that interesting. They don't mind either, from what I've been told. But again, like my Twitter gets around. So yeah. You can follow me on Twitter because like I've pretty much displayed to you, YouTube hates YouTubers. Like, it just does. It likes corporations. It likes big followings, but it does not like the average YouTuber. So feel free to follow me on Twitter because at least you're going to know when my show is out. I'm not going to say I got intellectually dark webbed or anything like that, but I will say this. With all the stuff that's been going on, even the big guys are being attacked and the algorithms change. So if you subscribe to me, that's not good enough at some point in time. You can hit that join button, hit the bell, all that other stuff. I don't even think I have a join button. You can do all of that stuff, and if YouTube ever just decides, he doesn't get enough views, or we didn't like what he said in his last video, you won't know what'll happen. But the only thing that YouTube gives us that gives us like an immediate notification is on Twitter. So the moment that I upload something, and again, it's sort of hilarious because Twitter is just as bad as YouTube on a different note. If you just follow me on Twitter, you are going to know when the show is up. And that's the best thing about, like I said, Twitter. At least my Twitter, you're just primarily going to get my show links. Like, you're not going to get a lot of random things about, hey, what do you think of, the Middle East right now, dark logos? You're not getting that. You're just getting show links. And you're also getting a random comment from me being at the club telling the DJ to go play a song. That's about it. So yeah, my Twitter is lazy, and that's why it's able to go to outer space. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Let me know what you think about today's show. I also, for everybody that in the future that's like, why don't you do this? You have a whole show just dedicated to why I don't do like 90% of the things that you're asking me to. You can donate to me on startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. You can hit the donate button and, donate to the show directly. You can also buy a shirt, a Starting Over Podcast shirt, in the link below. All right, I'd like to thank you all for listening, dealing with my political diatribe about the dynamics of YouTube and digital media in the current 1984 Brave New World landscape. So, yeah, hopefully I'm still around, doing this show. So, like always, we all have